Well, it looks like Android ID verification is coming soon because starting September 2026, a silent update pushed by Google will block every Android app whose developer hasn't registered with Google, signed their contract, paid up, and handed over government ID. Google calls the new rule Android developer verification. It is starting in these few select countries, but again, with all the IDH verification laws around the world, it always starts off with a few countries and then it spreads worldwide. So do not be excited if you don't live in these countries. It will spread worldwide. And right now, they are starting off with Android developer verification, but I'm highly confident that Android ID verification in general is coming soon, and it is expanding worldwide in 2027 with every app on certified Android phones. They must come from a developer who's registered their real identity with Google. This covers apps from the Play Store, third-party stores, and side-loaded APKs. Here's what developers have to do. They sign up in Google's new verification system, share their legal name, address, phone number, and ID, and pay a one-time $25 fee. Apps from unverified developers will be blocked or come with big warnings and extra steps. Google says they're doing this to fight malware, where they say that the company says side-loaded apps are about 50 times more likely to contain bad software than Play Store apps. Android is becoming a little more controlled with all of these changes. And it's funny, as some of the people in the comments will point out, a lot of people actually switched over to Android because they were tired of Apple doing all this IDH verification stuff and some of the restrictive stuff in their app store. This person's saying, I went with Android because I hated Apple's restrictive BS, and now they're becoming the same BS. So it's pretty funny that a lot of people actually moved over to Android to try to avoid this. And now Google and Android in general is now screwing them over too. So Android is basically becoming an iPhone. I mean, that's pretty much what's happening here. Their ID verification thing for the developers, it definitely looks a little shady, and they're really trying to stick with this whole, trying to keep everybody safe thing, which, all the IDH verification pushers all around the world do. Elevating Android security to keep it open and safe. By making Android safer, we're protecting the open environment that allows developers and users to confidently create and connect. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be confidently creating and connecting, knowing that you have all of their information and they had to pay you $25. Android's new developer verification is an extra layer of security that deters bad actors and makes it harder for them to repeatedly spread harm. Starting in September 2026, apps in select regions must be registered by a verified developer to be installed on certified Android devices. So it's kind of weird. I mean, their solution isn't to just moderate the apps and make sure that none of the bad apps are getting through. It is to force everybody to hand over an ID and all of their personal information. Like, you have to hand over this type of stuff anyways, and your ID. I feel like that's so weird. So obviously handing over an ID is bad enough too, but first of all, you need to provide and verify your legal name, address, email address, and phone number. And then after that, you also might need to upload a government ID. I mean, it's so weird. And if you're registering as an organization, you also need to provide a DUNS number and verify your organization's website. You need to register your package names to prove ownership of your apps by providing the APK signed with your private key to connect the APK with your developer account. And soon in 2027, this will be a global requirement. So if you want to develop any type of app on Android and you want people to actually see your app, you are going to have to do all those steps, give them all your personal information, give them your ID, and pay that $25. And it's just really interesting because, again, as those commenters pointed out, a lot of people went to Android as an alternative to Apple. A lot of people went there because they know that ID age verification is coming to Apple, and a lot of people went to Android to try to go ahead and avoid it. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us already know what's going on with Apple right now. They're essentially shoving ID age verification down everyone's throats, and now they're starting to do this whole digital ID thing where they want everybody to connect to this whole digital ID thing. A lot of people have been presenting this at TSA, when they're trying to take flights and stuff like that. All of these major tech companies, Google, Meta, and all of them are all rolling this type of stuff out, whether it's through, secondary products like YouTube for Google or Android or whatever, to anyone who's trying to develop apps on their services and stuff. And it is just crazy because remember how this all started. This all started with the UK's awful Online Safety Act, where they were trying to go ahead and stop kids from watching adult videos. So they said, hey, everybody, go ahead and provide us an ID if you want to go on those adult websites. And everybody was like, well, this seems like a pretty slippery slope. Is this just going to stop at the adult websites, or is this going to keep going? Well, now we know the answer. By the end of May of 2026, it actually spread to everything. And now all of these different types of apps, companies, softwares, organizations, anything that you can think of is now all demanding your ID and trying to use the excuse of it's for safety, it's for the kids, it's to prevent malware. It's always about some sort of like security risk or whatever. But in reality, the only solution that they could think of is to have everybody provide an ID. It's just unfortunate that there's so many people out there that just don't see all of this as a big deal. And soon when they're going to have to provide an ID to just to go ahead and breathe on the entire internet, then they're all going to be like, wow, how come we didn't do anything to fight this? And also, I haven't seen like official confirmation of this, but this is something that has been heavily speculated. But Google, in some way, shape, or form, is actually partnered with Persona, and that is something that you guys know. Obviously, I have to point out because I've obviously called out the Persona CEO over and over again and asked him to go ahead and dispute all of the information that's against his company, talking about the faulty security issues, all the shady stuff that they're doing. And he is still yet to reply or do anything like that, even though he was the one who originally called me out. And yet Google is still working with them. It reminds me where the whole thing of like PlayStation age verification, they're still working with Yoti, which is a company that got fined by Spain for mishandling biometric data. It's weird that a lot of these giant companies like Google and PlayStation or whatever, they're working with these shady ID age verification companies that have already been exposed for mishandling information. Google, in some way, shape, or form, again, this isn't like officially confirmed, but it seems like they are in some way partnered with Persona, and we have already showed how many times Persona has been going ahead and messing up with biometric data. It's something that I've called Rick Song out for over and over again, and it's going to the point where now Google is doing this whole Android ID age verification thing, and I'm going to assume that they're going to be using Persona in some way, shape, or form to handle that. Could be wrong about that one, but the point is, why are you guys even partnered with Persona to begin with when we know that there is so much mountains of information against them for mishandling biometric data? Obviously, Google themselves are pretty shady and they've also done a lot of bad stuff, but it just goes to show that this has no transparency and they're not even trying to pretend like they're not working with shady companies here. Apple's already rolling out digital ID. They're already rolling out ID age verification in tons of countries where you have to essentially do it if you want to use the phone that you just paid $1,000 for. And a lot of people saw Android as their safe haven. So a lot of people went over to Android, and now we're at this point where Android is now having ID age verification as well. I mean, it is just crazy. And it just goes to show that this whole thing is not going to slow down anytime soon. This is something that we all have to actively fight. Otherwise, we're going to lose our ability to actually do anything on the internet. There's also been this huge Parents Decide Act that has been going on right now. This is something that I haven't talked about too much because I've seen so many other people already make videos about it, but this is also a huge bill where essentially any type of software that has some sort of operating system is going to have some sort of age verification. And that could literally apply to pretty much any type of technology out there that connects to the internet. We're talking computers, phones, iPads, literally anything. So essentially what these guys are proposing with this law is, yeah, we want to go ahead and have ID age verification on literally every single device that you can think of. This is the type of stuff that is going on around the world right now. And this is the type of stuff where it really just baffles me and makes me scratch my head like, wow, people really don't think that this is that much of a problem. You guys already know that I've been frequently talking about this website called badinternetbills.com. This is definitely a good website you can go to if you want to go ahead and try to fight this ID age verification crap that is going on around the world right now. It is one of those things where a lot of people think that there's going to be other people who will fight the battle for them so they don't have to do it. But I highly recommend that you go ahead and contact your local representatives, even just writing them a simple anonymous email where you go ahead and explain to them why ID age verification is bad, why it is an invasion of privacy. I know people are going to say that that doesn't do anything, but at least it's better than nothing. I would rather try than just sit here and do nothing. And this is something that I haven't gotten an answer with, just like with the whole Rick Song thing. But NetChoice was also another website that I was promoting a lot because they were going ahead and talking about ID age verification, and they were going ahead and vetoing some of these laws around the country. And it's one of those things where I had to stop supporting them because they are still actively to this day supporting Meta, and they are partnered with them, and they have them listed on their homepage. Why are you guys supporting Meta when Meta has been proven and revealed to be the company that is lobbying for all these ID age verification laws in the first place? What are you guys doing, NetChoice? It really doesn't make sense why they're doing this. That's why I had to stop supporting them. But yeah, you guys get the idea. Just try to fight this in some sort of shape or form. I mean, I am so tired of this ID age verification stuff around the world. It's so sad that you just can't help but laugh. I mean, like those comments of those people saying they switched from Apple to Android to avoid this, and now it's happening to Android too. It's just crazy. But let me know what you guys thoughts on the situation in the comments. Please leave a like in the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more. See ya.